Warm good evening to all. On the behalf of Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering of Siagat Institute of Technology, I, Mrs. Vaishali Baste, welcome you all for online webinar on blockchain demystified in association with the High Voltage Club Nasi. We hope you are safe and taking enough precautions during this global pandemic of COVID-19. It gives me immense pleasure to say thanks for all participants for your great enthusiasm and taking part in this webinar. Here I am very happy to share as we receive more than 600 registrations, among them some registrations from different states of India and few from out of India. So we can say this webinar as International Online Webinar on Blockchain Technology. First of all, I would like to say thanks to our principal, Dr. M.S. Gaikwad sir and HOD D.D. Chaudhary sir for giving me opportunity to organize this webinar in association with the High Voltage Club Nasik. Also, I would like to say thanks Mr. Devine, President and Founder Director of the High Voltage Club for accepting our request for webinar and provide us eminent speaker Mr. Shreekant Kulkarni, Director Spandan Technology Private Limited Pune. Welcome sir. I would like to add few lines of Stephen Hawking in this situation of COVID-19. There should be no boundaries to human behavior. We all are different. However bad life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at where there is life, there is hope. Now let me explain about this webinar. Blockchain will be dominating the industry after 2020. Make use of to be the unexpected break to develop your vision on the latest technologies and get ahead of your peers in this COVID-19 pandemic scenario. This webinar presents you with an opportunity to unravel the mysteries of blockchain technology. We aim to empower you with the knowledge and understanding of this growing and revolutionary technology and support you to kickstart your career business in this space. Main objective of webinar are understand the basic about blockchain technology, discover use case applied to various industries, learn about public and private blockchain network, what role do they play, explore few real world projects. I would like to summarize my speech by lines of Albert Einstein. If I have 1 hour for solving the problem on which my life is dependent, then I will devote 40 minutes to study the problem, 15 minutes to analyze it, and only 5 minutes to solve it. Thank you. Now, I would request to Principal Sir, HOD Sir, and Mr. Devine to address participant. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome you to this webinar. We are aware that changes in technologies happen very fast, and always we talk about these are the current technologies or emerging trends in technologies or future technologies. Currently, we talk about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain technology, big data analytics science as future technologies. As per the experts, post COVID 19, we will have to go digital transformation in very big way. And particularly in that transformation, blockchain technology will play very important and significant role. Considering that future, Srinagar Institute's Lonavala campus has organized webinar on blockchain technology by calling expert in that field. They are providing a very good platform to the participants and get them prepared, fully equipped to grab the opportunities that will be generated in blockchain technology after COVID-19. I congratulate the organizer and expect that participants will take maximum benefit of this and will prepare to make their career. My best wishes to the webinar. Thank you.
Hello friends and all dear participants. I welcome you all for this webinar on blockchain technology. I, Dr. Dilip Chaudhary, Vice Principal, Srinagar Institute of Technology, Lonavala. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all dear participants, for this webinar on blockchain demystified. Dear friends, as you know, in this digital era, we have to adopt all these upcoming technologies. This is our small effort to make the people aware about these new technologies and upcoming technologies based on the blockchain. As we know, this type of technologies which will be useful in industries, automation industries, medicine industries, financial industries, and education field, and so on. So definitely we have to see this as a whatever the situation has been occurred because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Let us convert this tragedy into the opportunity, and let us learn all these upcoming technologies which will be useful for we and our society. So let me welcome our speakers of this webinar from High Voltage Club. They are expert and consultant in this blockchain technology. I also want to congratulate organizer of this program, Vaishali Basti Madam from ENTC department of our Srinagar Institute of Technology, Lonavala. I also want to welcome you all once again for this program and wish you best of luck. I hope you will enjoy the webinar series. Once again, welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Blockchain Demystified. I would like to mention that this is an international webinar. We have people from different parts of the world. We also have people from 20 different cities in India itself. The speaker for today's session is Mr. Shreekant Kulkarni. I would like to introduce him. Mr. Shreekant Kulkarni did his Masters of Computer Applications from Pune University. He started with project management of large networking projects in Wipro Pune. Then he was managing complete IT infrastructure along with ERP systems for Bharat Gears Limited, Mumbai. After this, he moved on to become the IT head for Goli Vada Pav Limited. Later, he worked for a couple of more organizations focusing on ERP project management and change management. He has successfully implemented 4 different ERP solutions. He has handled IT infrastructure and ERP projects in manufacturing, retail, service, and construction industry. After doing job for a decade, he wanted to do something different. So in 2016, he started Spandan Technologies Limited. His goal was to focus only on his own dream projects, which were completely different than what was happening in the mainstream industry. He's one of the very few experts in blockchain technology and cryptocurrency in India who are working hard to educate people about their immense potential. Right now, he's working on different projects in blockchain technology, sustainable development, distributed renewables, air quality, reforestation, carbon capture, and utilization. Welcome, sir. Welcome once again. Also, I would like to thank AirMeet for providing such a wonderful support, such a wonderful platform, and they just smoothened the journey of an event being taken live. So I would just like to mention a few things about the platform. Whenever any one of you have a doubt, you can just put it on the questions tab instead of the chat tab. Just put your questions in the questions tab. Also, please, if it is possible for you, please raise your hand, because when you raise your hand, we can directly interact with you on the stage, and it will be a one-to-one interaction, so it will be a much better option. Okay. Also, I would like to mention about certificates. Certificates will be only given to those who attend the full session. This includes the question and answer round, as well as the welcome session. So even if you join a bit late, we will be considering that. But if you leave early, that is simply not acceptable. Also, I would like to thank you once again for coming here, being joining us in a very wonderful session. And I would like Shreekant sir to take over now. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I personally welcome you all into this webinar, which can actually be called as a short training about blockchain technology. But we have named it as demystifying blockchain because blockchain is a mystical topic right now. There are so many confusions in the market, so many confusion in the minds of the people who want to study it, whether to study it or not study, whether to enter the blockchain developer domain or whether to enter some other domain attached to the blockchain, become a blockchain consultant, advisor, what exactly do you want to become? So there is a lot of confusion. That's why we thought of this name that we should demystify the blockchain. So this is demystifying blockchain by Shri Crypto. Next one. So Devine has actually introduced me very well, but the part that actually matters today is cryptocurrencies and blockchain. They go hand in hand. So my career in basic IT domain he has introduced. Now what exactly is Shri Crypto? So in the social media life and in cryptocurrencies or blockchain domain, they call me Shri Crypto. Shreekant Kulkarni, instead of Shreekant Kulkarni, they just call me Shri Crypto. So what exactly is Shri Crypto? Shri Crypto is a blockchain trainer and consultant, cryptocurrency advisor and mining consultant. I have spent 4 years in blockchain technology. I'm passionate about open blockchains and decentralization of almost everything that is possible. And currently, I'm working on sustainable development and decentralizing renewable energy. I actually love to capture nature through my lens as well. Next, please. So, in short, my blockchain experience, I have tried to uh, keep it compact in one slide now. I have conducted trainings for around 500 individuals, which comprise from students to the CEOs of companies and even some government officials and some other people as well. I have given consultancy to more than a dozen of cryptocurrency businesses. I have given advisory services to more than 100 investors, or you can call them individual investors. I'm currently working on my own startups in the blockchain technology domain, and I'm regularly trying to raise awareness about blockchain technology through trainings in colleges, schools, and also creating awareness through my social media handles. Next, please. So This slide actually is one of the most complicated slides in this whole presentation, because this actually is trying to define blockchain. What exactly is blockchain? This comprises of many simple words, but when they are put together, it gets a little complicated to understand or bifurcate what exactly is the meaning of it. So let's simply read it through. Blockchain is a decentralized digital public ledger. So it is decentralized, digital, and public. But what exactly is it? It's a ledger. Okay, ledger is just like a database or something where you put in all the transactions that are happening. Maybe you owe somebody something, maybe you are spending something, so you just put it in the ledger. So it is a digital ledger, but it is decentralized and public. Okay, let's go move to the next part of the definition. It is used to record transactions across many computer systems, implemented in such a way that any record cannot be altered or changed without changing all the subsequent blocks. So the next part simply means that it is usually a network or network of computers, or you can call those computers, you can call them as nodes. So it is a network of nodes, and it is implemented in such a way that if you try to change or alter or modify one transaction, you will have to modify all the next blocks or subsequent blocks. Next, please. This definition will uh, will get clearer as we move on towards the next slides. Okay, so I've tried to show you guys what are the three different types of architectures available in the world. The first one is centralized architecture. Every single thing that you see, every single system that you touch in your life, every single system, maybe it's a WhatsApp, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's anything, every system is designed in one single way, that is hub and spoke, or maybe you can call it as a V. There is, at the center there is an authority, or there is a server, or there is something who has value, who can dominate the other things and who can take the decisions. You can call it as client server architecture in the simplest way. So what happens in the centralized system is that client actually sends requests to the server actually processes everything and then sends response to the client. So this is a centralized architecture. Now what started happening once everybody started using those systems, that there was a lot of burden on the servers. So they came up with the second one, which is called as distributed system. So in distributed system, server actually does not do everything. Server does some part of the calculations or processing, and it actually outsources some part of the calculations to other servers or maybe nodes itself. And what we are looking in terms of blockchain technology, or maybe Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, which is completely decentralized. So the difference here is, first system which we are used to is centralized. Then the second system that we started getting into recently is simply distributed system, where some things are processed on the server and some are processed on the nodes. But in the decentralized architecture, all the nodes are equal. There is no server, there is no client. Every node or every computer system which is running the software, which is part of the network, which is running the blockchain software, is treated at the same level. There is no governance model. Nobody actually is handling or giving orders to anybody. So everybody is at the same level. That is why it is called as peer-to-peer network. So there is no middleman available who can actually channel the communications or take the decisions. Next slide, please. So blockchain in simple words and simple three pictures, if you want to imagine it. Blockchain, as the name suggests, it is simply chain of blocks. So there is a first block which is linked to the second block is linked to the third block, and similarly you keep on building up on top of the other blocks. So if you consider blockchain as a chain of blocks, it is very simple to understand. It is simply a data structure. Just like you have stacks, just like you have arrays, just like you have something else, it is simply a data structure. Second thing, blockchain is open and public. You can see here the image. All the doors are open. So anybody from anywhere can access the blockchain system can access the network and can participate in the network, can provide services, can receive services, can transfer funds, or whatever this functionality is available on that particular blockchain. Anybody can take part in that. But this is only applicable to the open blockchains, public blockchains, not the private and consortium ones. We will consider those two things later on. Right now, let's just consider that it is open blockchain. And as you know that it is a digital ledger, so everything is considered, everything is stored in terms of ones and zeros, as we know in all the computer systems. Next slide, please. So this is another one where we try to understand blockchain in a little more, little simpler, further simplify it. Okay, so what is a node? Node is any computer that is running the respective software and is part of the network. It is participating in the network. So it is trying to understand what other nodes are talking about. It is trying to ask questions. It is trying to answer queries, because every node is treated at the same level. This can be seen in the third point, which is called as flat network. So all nodes are equal. Second thing, it is a distributed ledger. So if blockchain is a ledger, and if it is distributed ledger, simply means that every node stores complete copy of the blockchain, or rather complete copy of the ledger. So all the transactions, if you consider the example of Bitcoin or Litecoin or Dash Monero, Zcash, whichever you want to consider, if you can consider those blockchains, so every node that is participating in that blockchain stores complete history of all the transactions since the beginning of time, or since the beginning of the blockchain. So Bitcoin blockchain started in 2009, 3rd January 2009. That was the first block. And suppose today is 30th May 2020. So any node that is active or that is live on the Bitcoin blockchain will store or will have in its storage all the blocks and all the transactions that have ever happened since the beginning of the blockchain, that is 3rd January 2009. So 11 years of data is stored on every node. So what benefit this offers is that you cannot lie to a blockchain, because every node is smart enough and every node has the complete copy of the ledger, so it can check whether any other node is trying to put in a false transaction or some wrong transaction. So there cannot be any mischievous behavior in the blockchain because of this distributed ledger. So these blockchains are usually borderless. So it doesn't matter whether we are transacting across a table, across a building, across a state, across a country, or across a continent, or maybe from another planet. It doesn't matter to a blockchain. It simply doesn't matter, because there are no borders. Just like internet doesn't have any borders, though many nations are trying to implement those borders in their digital world. Just like China, they are trying to censor everything, censor every. They don't even allow Facebook and Twitter to run there. So these things are enforced by governments, but I don't think that can be done very successfully everywhere. So borderless transactions and borderless communication is the key feature of public blockchains. And the last point is one of the most important points. If you read the phrase, it actually gives the meaning other ways. It says trustless system. So trustless system, maybe you might think that there is no trust in the system, but the real meaning is exactly opposite. The trust is actually built into the system. So while designing the blockchain, it is designed in such a way that I don't need to know who exactly is it that I'm transferring money to, or who exactly is it I'm trying to do a deal with, because blockchain guarantees those transactions. So trust is in the system itself. If I say to somebody that I have sent him half a Bitcoin and I send him the transaction, I say that there are 7 confirmations already. That means the transaction was put inside a block, and then there are 7 blocks after that. Anybody in the whole wide world will accept that it has happened on the blockchain because I have given the proof. So this is the basis for trustless system. Next slide, please. So many of my students and many of my friends, many people that I train and that I converse with usually ask me the same question again and again and again. that if every node or every participant or every computer system that is on the blockchain is treated equally, then who exactly decides the rules? Or suppose my system says that X transaction has happened and your system says that Y transactions have happened. So how do we decide exactly what is happening in the blockchain? Because people will start propagating lies in the blockchain, right? For that, we have consensus algorithms. Now, consensus algorithms is only one part of the security solutions provided inside the blockchain systems. There are many, there are more security solutions provided. That is like public and private cryptography. So these things we can cover in, maybe these are very deep subjects, and we will have to cover them in a later session or something like that. Right now, let's just continue with this. So consensus algorithm is actually a mechanism which is designed in such a way that all the participants can reach an agreement about the status of a blockchain, which actually shows maybe X transaction has happened. If my node says X transaction has happened, and if some other part of the blockchain is saying no, this transaction did not happen, Y transaction has happened. At that time, consensus algorithm wins, or it is the system which helps decide what exactly is happening, or maybe what exactly is the finality of the status of the blockchain. There are three types of consensus algorithms already been implemented in different blockchains right now. The first one that started this all is used in Bitcoin, which is called as proof of work, also denoted as POW sometimes. So proof of work is something where every participant actually installs his own computational devices which compete with each other in finding solution to a very complex mathematical problem where there are no shortcuts. There is only one solution, and you just have to keep on guessing, or keep on solving to reach the solution. Once any participant finds out the solution which matches the pre-designed and predefined requirements for the answer, it actually submits those answers to the blockchain. And every other node can check whether that answer is correct or not. And whoever finds that answer gets to put the next block in the blockchain. So simply speaking, if you put in your computational power and you find the right answers and you put in the right transactions, then only you will be able to put the next block in the blockchain. And this takes place every 10 minutes in Bitcoin blockchain. And these times differ in different blockchains, but in Bitcoin it is around 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, the whole network is competing with each other to find that single answer. And that answer, when it is found, whoever finds, or whichever group finds that answer, gets to put the next block on, so that there is a consensus about the status of the blockchain. So this is called as consensus algorithm. And proof of work actually has one more thing tied up to it. It is called as mining. So whatever this is happening, whatever these calculations are happening in the network or at the node ends, there are different devices which actually compete. So those devices are called as miners, and people who actually do those things are also called as miners, like me. And miners have a very good, very different kind of benefit of finding those answers and putting those blocks up. So whenever any miner device, or maybe the individual, or maybe the group of devices, wins this battle of mathematics, it gets to put that block up in the blockchain, and there is a reward attached to that block. Until recently, it was 12.5 bitcoins, 12.5 BTC were given to every miner who was successful in putting one block in the blockchain. And recently, around 10 to 15 days ago, the reward halved. So now it is 6.25 BTC every block. So there is huge amount of electricity that is required for this computational battle to go on, or for winning this battle. There are very specific devices that you need to buy and that you need to implement in a very different manner than the normal server rooms and normal computational devices. And there is a very sensitive price point, that is where this battle is being fought. So that is why the inventor of Bitcoin and the inventor of the other cryptocurrencies, they have actually matched these different mathematical races, and they have attached a benefit to the person who is working for the network, and they get to win those Bitcoin. So I assure you that this is not a simple thing to do. You need very high-end devices which are specifically designed only for that kind of work. You cannot start mining on your Mac, you cannot start mining on your PC, you cannot start mining on your Android or your iPhone for Bitcoin network, for Litecoin network, for Dash, Monero, Zcash, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic. For all these things, you need specific devices which are designed to do exactly that. Okay, so that is proof of work, and proof of work is attached with mining benefits or mining rewards. Second type of consensus algorithm is called as proof of stake. So proof of stake is something, suppose if you consider Waves network, which is also a very good cryptocurrency, and in Waves network, if I have 1000 waves and if I am ready to lock them inside a wallet, if I'm ready to lock it inside a wallet for specific period of time, it is called as staking. So I'm staking my assets inside a wallet. That's why I get to put the next block in the network. So this is a different one. In the first part, there was a mathematical race. In this second one, there is a race, but this is not exactly a race. This is like a lottery. If you put in your assets, you will win the lottery on a regular basis. So this is a different model. Many people who actually are supporting Bitcoin and supporting decentralization don't like proof of stake, because it is like making money because you already have money. So this model many people don't like, but I'm kind of neutral for it sometimes, and sometimes I don't like it as well. So third thing is proof of authority. Proof of authority is actually implemented everywhere. If suppose it's like signing authority, we have people sign on the certificates, then only it gets a meaning. Similarly, if you don't sign a check, the check has no meaning at all, right? No matter what kind of amount you have written, no matter who is the recipient of the check, it doesn't have any meaning. So similarly, proof of authority works. It is usually used in consortium blockchains and private blockchains, where a node is run by XYZ company. That is why it is given authority to put in new blocks. And maybe the other company, ABC, is not given the authority to put in the blocks, because it doesn't have the authority. It only has the authority to read the blocks. Okay, so this is called as proof of authority. Now the last thing, if you read, I am working on something called as proof of green for my own project. So this is a totally new consensus algorithm, and the idea is that proof of green means if some citizen, if some person who is actually a participant on my blockchain, and he plants suppose 100 trees in this lockdown, and if he can prove that he has planted those 100 trees, he will submit that proof to the blockchain, and blockchain will identify those trees, and it will average out what exactly is the emission that it will reduce, or rather what kind of CO2 it will absorb, and it will give some weightage to it and give cryptocurrency to the person who has submitted the proof. So this is called as proof of green. Maybe we can also do something. Suppose somebody buys an electric car, suppose somebody buys an electric bike, or maybe somebody installs solar panels on their roof. So these kind of things which are actually good for the environment, we are building a system, we are building a consensus algorithm for this, which will actually incentivize these green actions by the citizens, and so that they will get a piece of the carbon credits mechanism that is happening all over the world. Next slide, please. So blockchain, when we think about blockchain, many people think of it just like a technology, just like a technology. Man, it's totally all right. There are so many ERP systems, there are so many apps available, there are so many social media networks available. This is just a thing. No, this is not. Just like when internet started, it changed many industries. It almost killed some industries and it created new industries. Okay. Similarly, blockchain is a totally different thing. It is going to change many things in the future. And we can begin with understanding these three things. Blockchain changes how we think of and distribute what authority. So authority can be distributed over blockchain. That is one thing. Trust, I already said that it is a trustless system. So trust can be inherent into the system itself. Authority, there is no requirement of outside authority to take care of the transactions or to take care of the malicious activities on the blockchain, because it is in the design itself. If everybody is part of the network, and if the network, if the people who are working for the network is higher than people who are trying to fight off the network and try to put in malicious activity, try to put in bad transactions inside them, then that blockchain will always survive. Similarly, if you consider how we used to transact value, it is also changing over time, and blockchain will surely change that as well. So three things that are actually being changed inside our mind itself. We used to transact in cash, then we moved on towards card payments, then we slowly moved on towards UPI and some other things. Now we are slowly moving towards blockchain based transactions. Next, please. So I actually like to give some homework to my students always. This presentation will be shared with you after this session, and I would like you to think of these four aspects about blockchain. You already know what are the things that blockchain is changing. Blockchain is actually changing the infrastructure itself. We used to have infrastructure where the authority or where the value or where everything was distributed in concentric circles. There is a circle of the management, then there is a circle of the lower management, and there is a circle of the maybe senior employees, and there's a circle of the junior employees, and then there is a circle for consumers or the customers. Similar circles are everywhere in every aspect of life right now. Let it be a government organization, let it be an a company, let it be an NGO, let it be whatever you want to do right now, let it be a college itself. So everywhere you go now, right now, you see these concentric circles where power is centralized, and the power gets diluted as you move out from the center to the outside. And when you try to get inside towards the center, that means when you try to gather the power, you need to prove yourself at every level. You need to give your password, you need to give your Aadhaar card, you need to give something so that you can enter the next circle. Then you prove yourself again, then you enter the next circle. So this is happening everywhere. So I want you to understand the blockchain through my presentation, through my webinar, through my training, and then try to identify what are the things that will change politically, what are the things that will change financially, what are the things that will change technically, and what are the things that will change in between us socially. So what I'll try to do is, like, I'll just give you small hints or maybe 1 point for each stuff. So politically, just try to imagine that elections are happening over blockchain, where nobody can touch the data, nobody can touch your vote. Everything is tracked, traced, and shown. Everything is transparent, and nobody can meddle with the data. What will happen politically? That is one, politics. Second, financial. There are so many false promises in the current banking system. There are so many wrong things happening currently. They have this FATCA, they have this KYC, they have this AML, anti-money laundering laws. Who are these laws for? They are for us, not for the banks. If you just go online and check how much, or rather what was the amounts that the banks paid, I'm not talking about India, so don't get me wrong. I'm talking worldwide, I'm talking internationally right now. If you just go online and check what was the amount of fines any particular bank paid to their own particular government or some other body for money laundering, you will be astonished to see that. You'll be astonished to see that. So these kind of things will not happen if financial institutions are using a blockchain which is governed by public, or maybe which is governed by the government. So who governs it? Usually, if you properly decentralize it, if you have a public blockchain, if you have an open blockchain, if you have a borderless blockchain, then the participants, the public, the citizens, they actually govern it. But it doesn't happen normally. Let's see what happens in the future. So in terms of technicalities, what blockchain is doing, I will simply give you an example. If you consider Bitcoin right now, only Bitcoin, nothing else. If you consider Bitcoin right now, if you think of the highest level, or the cutting edge of technology, or maybe the bleeding edge of technology, in terms of networking, what is the best? Bitcoin. In terms of hardware, what is the best available? Bitcoin. In terms of software, decentralized software, what is the best in the whole wide world? Bitcoin. Which is the safest system humans have ever created? Bitcoin. So these things you will have to research, you will have to do your own research, then you will think of it. There are so many figures available. Few figures say that if you want to hack a Bitcoin blockchain for 10 minutes, you will need huge amount of power, maybe in orders of 50 or 100 or maybe 200 megawatts for 10 minutes. You will need maybe 500 Google's worth of servers, which is not available to any government, or which is not available to any particular country or any particular state or any particular entity. So Bitcoin in these terms stands apart from the whole wide world. It's totally different. Socially, if you consider what is happening right now, we are observing social distancing right now. We are at our homes, we are locked in our homes, we are wherever we went, we are locked there. It's been more than 2 months in India. So socially, whatever used to happen in social networks, suppose just like Facebook, you have something where you create the content, you post whatever you feel like posting, whatever you post on Facebook, you are doing the same thing, whatever you post on Twitter or LinkedIn, you get that content and you put on that other platform, which is decentralized, which is based on blockchain, which is public, which is open, and which is incentivizing their creators automatically. So if you get maybe 10,000 likes for that particular post, you will get XYZ amount of currency in your account directly. So this is the future which is already making true, which is already happening right now, and we are seeing it happen. So socially, this is also going to happen. I hope I've given you enough food for thought for these 4 points. Next slide, please. Okay, so before you read through this slide, I want you to imagine one thing. Try to go to 1980s and 1990s if you are old enough, and think of internet at that moment. What was internet? Nothing. It was DARPA. But the first app that internet had was email, right? First app that was built on top of internet was email. Similarly, the first app, the first killer app of blockchain technology is cryptocurrency. And on top of that, the best one is Bitcoin right now. There are 5,000 plus cryptocurrencies available in the world. So first use case right now is cryptocurrency. So what is happening? Everybody is thinking about blockchain, that man, it's cryptocurrency, nothing else. Okay, blockchain is equal to Bitcoin. That is what people are thinking. But Bitcoin is just the first app. Blockchain is actually the internet of money, and you can build a lot of things on top of internet of money. So I have considered some examples here, and many of these are already live. Many of these are already completely functional, and people are using it. So first implementation or first use of blockchain was cryptocurrency. Then second use, stock markets. Many countries are already working on building their stock market systems on top of blockchain. Second thing, commodities trading. Commodities trading can also be done on blockchain. It will have transparency. It will have the transaction finishing time, or maybe transaction settlement time will also be lowered. Then we can run treasury. Treasury functionalities can be done on blockchain. If you want to consider that, Maharashtra government has already given budget of 10 crore rupees. I think it was like 6 months ago. They have passed this budget and they have included treasury implementation of blockchain. So it has now reached Maharashtra, and we need to move very fast. Students, you need to move very fast. CEOs, founders, you need to move very fast because these things are being implemented all over the world, and it has reached Maharashtra government also. Uh, they have passed this budget for four different departments. 10 crore rupees they are going to give, and they are building new blockchains for the medical department, for the educational department, for the treasury, and one more. I think it was land registry. So these four departments are building their own blockchain. What are we doing right now? We are studying this. So maybe within a year, maybe within 6 months, when the world opens up, and when we are ready to move out and we are ready to do something meaningful, let's do something in the blockchain domain. Why not? Blockchain can be used to collect taxes. Insurance, this is one of the biggest implementations. Insurance is like there are so many complications. If you are going somewhere in your car and you meet with an accident, you need to call somebody, you need to send photos, you need to, then the inspector comes, or maybe it's through a video call sometimes. So all these things, all these settlements can be taken directly on the blockchain, and the settlement times will be very low. Even the insurance companies will save money, and they can actually lower their premiums. Customers might get more money for the same premium and in less time. So blockchain can be used in insurance domain as well, and many companies are already doing it. So there are no doubts that these domains are not actively being pursued by through blockchain. Distribution of government benefits, this is one of the biggest implementation that can be done right now. Indian government has given a package of around 20 lakh crore rupees. So out of that, they can actually distribute these amounts to the banks, or maybe to the companies, or maybe to the government entities, maybe to the state governments, city civic bodies. Anywhere they want to distribute, they can actually program this money, and they can send it to the beneficiary, and program it in such a way that this money can only be used to buy medicine, this money can only be used to buy XYZ things. And if the entity tries to use it for something else, it gets the transaction does not go through, and the money returns to the government. This can be done, or even this can further it can be implemented that the money that the entity has received as a stimulus package or as aid, if they don't use within 15 days or maybe 1 month, the money automatically returns to the government. This is also being done, or rather this should be done very quickly, so that the corruption stops. Land registry, I think this is being done in Telangana already, and this started with Sweden. In Sweden, they started registering land on the blockchain. I think that was around 3 years ago, and Telangana government started working on this around 1 year ago, and I think Maharashtra government will also do this. So there is huge scope in these domains. If you are a blockchain expert, if you are a blockchain consultant, if you're a blockchain architect, if you are a good developer, or maybe an also full stack developer. So people are also building blockchains to track ownership of art. That is also happening, and complete tracking of supply chains for medicines or diamonds. So all the sensitive or valuable things where usually there are conflicts between the entities, whether that happened in the way they wanted it or not, and there are conflicts, there are legal battles, so much of cost put into the lawyers and everything happening. So these things can actually be saved, this money can be saved, and IBM is actually doing very well in this domain. That I think they have implemented their blockchain for this and saving a huge amount of money, because there are very less conflicts going on right now. Next slide, please. So blockchain is something that started with cryptocurrencies. Many entities, many speakers, many individuals, many organizations, they try to avoid the word Bitcoin and they try to use the word blockchain everywhere. This is happening everywhere. And I don't know why they do this, but they try to avoid complications, which are not exactly a reality. So what is happening is right now they try to use word blockchain, they try to use word distributed ledger technology, but they never use word Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Monero, Zcash, or cryptocurrency. They don't use these words. This is wrong. So, and why this is happening is that because of some myths. If you try to fight those myths off, and if you try to find the facts, and if you try to digest those facts very well, you will be able to understand the domain very well, and you will be able to excel your career or your company or your business in this domain. So what is a myth? We'll try to go through some myths and then we'll touch on the facts. Cryptocurrency myths. Cryptocurrencies are illegal. Cryptocurrencies are scams. Cryptocurrencies are unsafe. Cryptocurrencies are investment schemes. This is the funniest one. Cryptocurrencies lose value over time, and cryptocurrencies can be easily hacked. These are the 6 myths that we have. These are the 6 biggest myths. There are more myths available if you try to reach out. First one, illegal. This is wrong. I will go through this legality issue in the next slides. So right now, let's just say that they are legal. Scams. There are scams everywhere. There are scams related to gold. There are scams related to traveling. There are scams related to social media profiles. There are scams related to Paytm. There are scams related to every banking transaction and every damn bank in the world. There have been scams. Every damn stock market transaction, every bond market, every commodity market. We have seen big, huge scams. So what's wrong with having a few scams? And just because there have been some scams, why do we name the complete domain wrong thing? Suppose if I want to buy a gold ring or maybe a gold chain, and if I just go to a shop nearby, which is damn rubbish shop, just or nukkadwala shop, we call them. And if I buy from there and the shop owner says that this is 24 karat gold, you can buy it reliably. I'm here to stay. You buy it, you go home, and then you check it out. It's not 24 carats. Damn, this is not even 18 carat. So what's wrong in this transaction? Is there anything that the gold did wrong? Is gold wrong? Because you did you made that stupid decision of buying it from somebody who wants to scam you. So just because somebody has scammed you over gold, gold is not wrong. You go out, suppose this is right now it's the mango season. If you go out and buy mango very cheaply, maybe at around 200 rupees per dozen, and then you come home and then you try to eat it, it's tasteless, it's stupid, very strange. What happened? You did not buy correct mango. You wanted to buy Alfonso, but you bought something else. So that does not make mango wrong. That does not make you wrong. Okay? That does not make that domain wrong. What is wrong here? The transaction is wrong. You did not take the decision properly. You did not study what you want to buy properly. That is happening. And that is the only thing which educates investors, which educates government, which educates citizens so that they can take better decisions next time. So scams are everywhere. We should try to avoid them. We should try to stay away from them. We should try to stay safe from them. But that does not mean you stop investing in stock markets, you stop buying homes, you stop buying cars. That does not happen, right? So similarly, cryptocurrencies are very risky. I know it. Everybody knows it. But it is a very interesting domain. You need to study it at least. If you don't want to buy it, if you don't want to invest in it, don't invest in it. Just study it so that you can decide whether to invest or you can decide whether to choose it as a good career path, whether it is a good path for you. You can decide after that. If you don't study it, you cannot do it, right? Third thing, cryptocurrencies are unsafe. This is totally wrong. Cryptocurrencies are extremely safe. Rather, if you consider Bitcoin, it is one of the world's most safest network, which cannot be hacked, which has never been hacked, and it has been under attack since day one. Not since day one, but since a long time. It's been 11 years, and it's been under attack for at least 10 years. Continuous attacks, and it has never been hacked. You just need to be safe. You just need to be taking more precautions while transacting. You should uh, go through the basic procedures to take care while using a wallet. So these are the things that you need to study, and then try to transact, then try to buy and sell, then try to hold on to it. Okay. So these things you need to be very precaution. We need to be taking very highest level of precautions, but that does not mean you should not do it ever. Okay. Cryptocurrencies are investment schemes. This is also wrong. Buying a buying corn. If you buy corn, it's not an investment scheme. You're just buying food, right? Buying gold is not an investment scheme. You're just buying it for the jewelry. Maybe it's for your son. Maybe it's for your daughter, for the future, for their future. So these are not investment schemes, but you can buy them, you can sell them, you decide whether to do it or not. Cryptocurrencies lose value over time. This is totally bullshit. This does not happen. Rather, cryptocurrencies are treated as store of value. Bitcoin is treated as store of value. So store of value is the functionality that is actually achieved through precious metals in the past. That is silver, gold, platinum. These are the precious metals that people used to buy since the beginning of time, and they are still buying it. So similarly, if you want to consider Bitcoin, it is something like digital gold. If you consider Litecoin, you can think of it as digital silver. If you think Ethereum, it can be digital platinum. So these are the things which see fluctuations in the prices depending on people buying it, selling it, and the news in the market, the news about regulation, regulatory authorities doing some things, central banks coming up with some plans. So these things affect markets, and normal markets, stock markets, bond markets, commodity markets. Similarly, these news affect cryptocurrency markets as well. We have not yet touched, or we have not yet studied what's the size of the market. It will come up very soon. So cryptocurrencies actually provide you complete freedom. I already told you that anybody can get into the network, anybody can use any wallet, and you can transact borderlessly, you can transact all over the world. So these are the things which actually give you the freedom, right? But with freedom comes responsibility. So you need to be very responsible. You need to be very cautious while transacting. You need to be very cautious while storing your private keys. You should never bother giving them to anybody, right? So these are the things, if you take care of, you can actually study and you can actually invest in these things. They are very good store of value. I just told you it is like digital gold and silver and platinum. So I will, the last point of the facts, it has never been hacked. This is also true, and if you check it online, if you do your own research, you will come to know that this is true. Next slide, please. So here we touch up only on the legality and the current status of cryptocurrency markets. Cryptocurrencies are legally banned. This is complete myth. Cryptocurrencies are actually promoted by some countries like Switzerland, Belarus, Mauritius. They're doing it because there are huge business opportunities. Companies are moving out of India to Switzerland. Companies are moving out of Belarus to Belarus. Out of India and other places, they're going to Belarus. They're going to Mauritius. Why they are going there? Because these countries are giving them benefits. Now Belarus, there are specific plans and there are specific schemes where if you go and you start mining cryptocurrency, you don't have to pay any taxes for the next 5 years. Which other country you will get this benefit from? Nowhere. So companies are moving out of their own countries and they are going to Belarus, they are going to Switzerland, they are going to Mauritius and some other countries. This is happening already, and this has been happening since last 4 years. Venezuela has actually launched their own national cryptocurrency, and I think almost every country, every prominent country will have to launch their own cryptocurrency very soon. And every social media platform, every IT giant, every media giant, they will have to launch their own cryptocurrencies, because we are moving towards Internet of Things. We are moving towards complete automation. We are moving towards artificial intelligence. We are moving towards robotics. We are moving towards automated cars. Everything will be automated. So when everything is automated, do you think you will take out your wallet and you will calculate how much cash do you want to spend? This will not happen. You will not even be carrying single currency, or rather your smart wallet will be carrying single currency, and you just reach a toll booth, or maybe you reach somewhere where you want to spend money. The wallet itself will decide or whether identify which type of currency does the vendor accept. Suppose the vendor is Apple and Apple has launched Apple Coin, and you have Bitcoin, or maybe you have something else, maybe you have some other currency. The wallet will identify how much amount of Apple Coin you want to spend, and it will convert your currency into that currency, and it will automatically send it. This is already happening. The development is already underway. So almost every IT giant, almost every big company, almost every big bank, almost every big country will have their own cryptocurrencies very soon. And leading the line or leading the pack is Venezuela. Venezuela has launched their own cryptocurrency called as Petro, which is completely backed by the oil reserves of the nation. And there are other countries, Senegal, Tunisia, Marshall Islands. These have also launched central bank issued digital currencies. Now there is some difference in this, having cryptocurrency and having the name central bank issued digital currency. So this difference is nothing but just speaking that this is yellow gold, this is white gold, both are golds, both are 18 karat, they both have some impurities, that's why their color is different, or maybe their qualities are different. Similarly, cryptocurrency, national cryptocurrency is almost is equal to central bank issued digital currency. These are just different names. Just like you can call blockchain, just like you can say distributed ledger technology in some other places. It's nothing else. It's the cryptocurrency, or rather national cryptocurrency. So we see here that already four countries have launched their own cryptocurrencies, and even some countries have launched their cryptocurrencies, and those projects have failed also. So where are we standing now? Where is India? Where are we? We are pretty much lagging behind in this race, but I think we will catch up very soon. Next, in most countries, cryptocurrencies are totally legal. Okay, in some countries, you can buy cryptocurrency, you can sell cryptocurrency, you can hold on to cryptocurrency, but you cannot use it as a medium of exchange, as a mode of payment for buying something. So this is completely fair. You cannot use gold to buy your car, right? Anywhere in the world. So what's the problem with this? And these countries cannot be termed as illegal for Bitcoin or illegal for cryptocurrency. So in all, we see that almost everywhere cryptocurrencies are legal. In some places, you cannot use it to buy something, but you can buy cryptocurrencies, you can sell cryptocurrencies, you can trade cryptocurrencies, and you can hold on to them. Okay? And last but not the least, very important point, cryptocurrencies are banned in 6 countries. Okay? Algeria, Bolivia, Ecuador, Egypt, Morocco, and Nepal. These are only 6 countries, and I think Morocco is moving towards legalizing them, or maybe already they have legalized it. This list used to contain Bangladesh also. This list used to contain Pakistan also. So you can see that this list is getting smaller and smaller. It was hardly 8 or 9 countries where cryptocurrencies were banned, and now the list has come down to 6 out of 190. So there is pretty much freedom of transactions all over the world. There is pretty much freedom of buying, selling, trading cryptocurrencies, or at least working technically on the cryptocurrency projects, working for marketing of cryptocurrency projects, working as an advisor for the cryptocurrency projects. These working as a legal expert in this domain. There is so much requirement in this domain We need lots and lots of lawyers to study this domain and stand up for the crypto community so that people will understand that this is completely legal and we can work in this domain. This needs to happen. It is happening already. Let's see how we catch up with the rest of the world. Next slide, please. Cryptocurrencies, legality, specifically in India. For people who have joined us from other countries, sorry, this is only about India right now. There is no law against cryptocurrencies or for cryptocurrencies in India at all. Okay, people have this thought that cryptocurrencies are illegal in India, but that is not true. For becoming illegal, there needs to be a definition of cryptocurrency in law, and there they need to say that this legal definition, this term, this thing, we are banning it now. This has not happened in India as of now. On 6th, the only thing that happened 2 years ago, that was on 6th of April 2018, RBI issued a circular which prohibited all the banks that RBI governs, means all the banks in India, from providing banking services to cryptocurrency exchanges and cryptocurrency businesses. That is the only thing happened. So there was, this can be termed as a banking ban, not issued by any government, not the state government, not the national government, issued by RBI to banks, not to the government, okay, and not to the citizens of India. So it was completely legal to buy and sell in India at that time also, but banking services were not available. So that is the thing that happened for the last 2 years. But the beauty is that almost all the entities that were working in this domain approached high courts and they filed petitions. They filed so many petitions that Supreme Court has had to issue an order saying that none of the petitions after this should be accepted by any of the high courts. There were so many petitions. And finally, there was a case that stood, RBI versus IMAI, Internet and Mobile Association of India, because cryptocurrency exchanges and businesses were members of IMAI. IMAI stood for them, and IMAI versus RBI. This case was fought in Supreme Court for almost 2 years. And 2 months ago, just around the time of lockdown, this COVID-19 pandemic lockdown we started in all over the world. So in March, Reserve Bank of India lost this case, and Honorable Supreme Court issued an order saying that the order issued by RBI is illegal and should not be applicable in India anymore. So cryptocurrency trading, buying, selling, and working technically on it, building your own projects, and providing consultancy, providing advisory services, all these things are totally legal in India, and they are supremely possible. There is so much of demand available that there are very few experts available to conduct talks like these also. So we need to study and excel in this domain. Maybe you will find your own sweet spot in the ecosystem very soon. Next, please. Cryptocurrency facts about the world, or rather, this is a crypto world right now, which you are seeing here right now. We have seen that there were so many myths about cryptocurrencies. There were a lot of things have happened, and the simplest thing is that, cryptocurrencies are legal. We can trade and we can do everything about them. So let's see these facts. There are 5,530 cryptocurrencies available in the world right now, and new projects are being launched regularly. They are launched with immense talent. There are very talented people working on these projects. There are around 22,690 markets available for cryptocurrencies. 22,690 markets. Just try to imagine that. If you have Bitcoin, if you have Litecoin or some prominent cryptocurrency, you will be able to transact, you will be able to trade in 22,690 markets or currency pairs. Which kind of other commodity gets this kind of options. No one, none. Total market capitalization of all the cryptocurrencies combined together right now, around 3 hours ago, was $268 billion. That's billion with a B, which is equal to 20 lakh 23,400 crore rupees, which is around 12% more than what Indian government has announced as the COVID-19 relief package, or rather 23,400 crores more than that package. Last 24 hours trading volume was $103 billion. That's B with billion with a B. So it's 7,77,650 crore rupees transacted in 24 hours. And out of this whole market, Bitcoin's dominance is 65.7%. So out of the whole market capitalization and the values being transacted and everything, 65% or more than 65% is handled by Bitcoin itself. So market cap of Bitcoin is $176 billion, which is 13 lakh 28,800 crore rupees. And 24-hour volume of trading for Bitcoin only for one currency, was 2,38,580 crore rupees, which is 10% of this COVID-19 relief package. I bet you never knew these figures, or even if you knew these figures, you never thought of them open-mindedly, and you were this domain is huge. Once you go through all these figures, you know that these figures are huge, and you can actually be a part of this huge ecosystem and contribute very positively. You can also earn a lot of money if you want to earn by developing new projects, by managing new projects, by marketing new projects, or maybe by investing in new projects. Whatever you want to do, you can do after studies. Next slide. Why do we need blockchain? Now, after covering almost everything, I'm coming back to the basics. Why we need blockchain? Blockchain is an extremely important and essential thing because it allows us to get rid of the third parties. I told you a couple of times that there are concentric circles. The main authority or the main person or the main entity which is saying yes or no, which is giving you permissions, sits in the central part, and everything else is outside. If you want to get rid of that central entity, and if you want to treat everybody at the same level, you need to get rid of those third parties which help you in getting things done, like maybe payment processors, payment validators, or other central entities. And after doing that, you will still be able to process transactions without having knowledge about the party that you are transacting with. So this can only be done when you have blockchain, because it's a trustless system. You don't need to worry about the trust because trust is inherent in the system itself. Next, please. Where to use blockchain? First point is, wherever you find that trust is a key issue, you should use a blockchain. Wherever you need borderless transactions, you need blockchain. Wherever immutability is important. Immutability means you cannot meddle with the data. You cannot go in and change anything. You cannot go into the blockchain and change a transaction, or change a value of the transaction, or change the recipient or the sender of the transaction. That is called as immutability. Wherever transaction fees are higher, sending money outside overseas costs a lot of money. So for that, people are using blockchain now. People are using Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. These things are used by some for some transactions, like these international transactions now already being used. Peer-to-peer transactions are needed. This simply means that there should be no middleman, there should be no third party sitting in the middle while you transact. When AI, robotics, and IoT are involved, you need to use blockchain, because whenever you need complete automation, the transactions should also be automated. For that, blockchain is very important. And wherever you need to track the ownership of assets, wherever you need to track the ownership of something, maybe it's a medical record, maybe it's a COVID-19 test, maybe it's a COVID-19 result, maybe it's some death certificate, maybe it's some birth certificate, whatever you want to track the ownership of, you need to use blockchain in the future. And already in some parts they are using it. Next, please. Now, who needs to study this domain? Who needs to understand this domain? Who needs to get into the depth of this domain? First, students, CEOs and founders who want to start blockchain companies, who want to start blockchain projects, developers who are interested in getting blockchain jobs, fund managers, big fund managers who want to invest funds into blockchain companies or cryptocurrency entities or cryptocurrency exchanges, or maybe the ICOs, maybe the STOs, they need to understand blockchain. Project managers who want to handle blockchain projects, government officials who want to understand what exactly is happening around us, who want to understand whether they should use blockchain in their own particular ministry, their own particular department, they need to understand blockchain as well. Regulatory body advisors and consultants. So there are consultants and regulatory advisors who actually help government bodies, who actually help entities like who are governing some particular domains. So they also need to understand. Auditors need to understand what is blockchain and what are cryptocurrencies, how these assets are valued, how these things should be audited. And technology lawyers. I have taken this as the last part, but this actually should be at the top of it. Because if you have all this development happening, open innovation happening everywhere, you are bound to get some complications. There will be some difficulties. There will be legal battles being fought. For that, we need technology lawyers who understand blockchain, who understand cryptocurrencies, who understand distributed ledger technology, who understand insurance over blockchain. So these things should be treated very seriously by all of us, and we need to at least understand what exactly is blockchain technology so that we might be able to use it in our future course of action, in our future path for our careers. Try to study this as far as possible. I've tried to give you a good idea about it. Next slide, please. Now, future prospects in terms of position, which position you might get if you study blockchain, if you study cryptocurrencies very well. In terms of blockchain, you can be a blockchain architect, you can be a blockchain developer, you can be a blockchain consultant. If you consider cryptocurrency, you can be a cryptocurrency miner, you can start your mining operation. You can be a cryptocurrency trader, you can be a cryptocurrency advisor, you can be a cryptocurrency project reviewer, you can be a smart contract auditor, and you can simply be an investor in both the domains. You can start a company, you can be a founder or CEO or CFO or COO or maybe CTO of the company. So these are the prospects in terms of position. Next slide, please. Now we see prospects in terms of domain. We have already considered some domains, or rather very specific domains we have considered. Now let's see overall domains. You can get into the banking domain. Rather, blockchain will touch these domains very quickly, very soon, or it has started touching these domains already all over the world. And some countries are lagging behind, some countries are ahead of the times. Let's see what happens in future. So you in banking, in finance, in insurance, in stock markets, in terms of payment processors, for cryptocurrency projects, for cryptocurrency exchanges, and for the governance. These are the 8 places where you can work if you study blockchain very well, if you're an expert in this domain. Next, please. So now, types of blockchain. There are 3 types of blockchain, but almost everybody considers that there are only 2 types. One is one is a little jumbling. So private can also be considered as blockchains sometimes. There are 3 types of blockchain: private. Next slide. All right. So the example of public blockchains. First is Bitcoin, second is Litecoin, third is Ethereum, Dash, Monero, Zcash. And there are many more examples of public blockchain. Public blockchains are available to anyone. It does not require you to be a man, a woman, a qualified person. You can be an automated taxi and still have a Bitcoin account. It doesn't even want you to be a human being, which is the basic necessity for all the banking services in the whole wide world. You need to prove that you are a human being. Then only you can have banking services. You can actually, even if you run a company, there need to be directors, there need to be board members who actually govern the company. Then only the company can get banking services, right? But in Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Monero, Zcash, you don't even need to be a human being. Your dog can have a Bitcoin wallet. Your cat can have a Bitcoin wallet, and your Tesla can have it, right? So in the complete automated world, we will need blockchain because all the entities which are connected through IoT, which are completely robotics and totally automated, they will need their banking services because they will be transacting on our behalf. So we will need blockchain for that. And for the public blockchain, you can think of internet as public blockchain. Internet is available everywhere. Internet can be available to anybody. Anybody can use it. Your MacBook or your iPhone, your Android or your PC or your laptop does not need to be a human being to access internet, right? Similarly, blockchain can be accessed by anybody. Next, please. Now, private blockchains. Many people who are working in this domain don't like private blockchains because that is actually against the basics of blockchain or against the basics of Bitcoin. Because private blockchains are not properly decentralized. Private blockchains are exactly the opposite of public blockchains because they are created by some entities and used by themselves. So why to use a blockchain? You can use a database, you can use SQL server, you can even use Excel, you can use a notebook for that. You don't need a blockchain for private entities. But since the blockchain is the buzzword and investors are ready to pour money, many entities have started such projects. Now, Hyperledger project. Hyperledger project is a huge one. It is a private blockchain. It has multiple implementations, but every database and everything is maintained by one central entity, which is not blockchain, or rather, it's not public blockchain, which is opposite to the definition of blockchain itself. But these things are running already. These things are active, and many companies are building on top of the blockchain being maintained by one entity. If it's okay for them, they can do it, right? Similarly, there is Quorum by JP Morgan. Now, JP Morgan has always, the JP Morgan CEO and a lot of people in them, they've always opposed Bitcoin, they've always opposed cryptocurrencies, and now they have actually created their whole project, their Quorum project, on top of Ethereum, or it is a type of Ethereum, which is the second most priciest cryptocurrency in the world. So the entities, the banks, the giants who were speaking against blockchain are now entering the blockchain domain, but silently, because earlier they were opposing it. Now they need to move silently and take over all the network, try to build something new and say that they have done it. But what JP Morgan has done through Quorum, they have just created something like Ethereum, and they admit it on their website. You can research about it. Okay, supply chains by many shipping companies. Now, shipping companies have many orders in place. They have very huge things going on, so they need to be tracking everything. They need to be tracking who is responsible for which activity, for which shipping, which entity is responsible, and what temperatures need to be maintained, which is the way they are going, which is the route they will be taking. For these things, they are actually building their supply chains, and I admit that this is a good idea. So private blockchain can be considered as intranet. So every big office or every giant company, they have their own intranet, right? Their individual LAN, the inside office network. It is very good for communicating with each other, but not so good for communicating outside, right? Because it cannot function without internet. Means private blockchains cannot actually be very useful if they are not connected to the public blockchains. Just like intranet is useful when it is connected to the internet. Similarly, this concept can be clarified, right? Next one. Now this is the third type, which is almost like second type. Private blockchain can also be called as consortium blockchain. If one company is not maintaining everything, there is a group of entities, there is a group of companies who have agreed to create a blockchain network amongst them for themselves only, no outsiders allowed. Okay. So R3 is a group of 48 banks, and they created Corda, which is only for their own network, only for their own transactions. But many banks are actually using Corda and building on top of that their own transaction systems. So Corda works as a platform on top of which other banks are actually building their own transaction systems. This is already happening. Okay, so Facebook actually came up with the idea of Libre cryptocurrency. They created Libre Foundation as well, and Libre Foundation was based out of Switzerland. Libre Foundation had members likes of Uber, eBay, Visa, Mastercard, and a lot of giants were the members of Libre Alliance. And Facebook wanted to launch a cryptocurrency which will be used by the complete alliance. And Facebook would have been a bigger giant, a bigger monopoly. But US government stopped their development. They issued an order to Facebook that you cannot go ahead and you cannot develop this. This might be the reason Facebook invested that 43,780 crore rupees for buying 9.99 or rather 10% of stake in Geo. Why? Because Geo is coming up with the world's biggest blockchain very soon. Some of my students are already working on it. So this is happening. Now the next one. This is bank chain by the SBI. This is State Bank of India, not something else. Okay. So bank chain project started around I think 3 years ago, and bank chain is a project initiated by SBI, and a lot of banks are their members, or rather the consortium is handled by SBI, but there are many other banks part of it, and what they are trying to do is trying to do KYC only once. So a customer's KYC will be done only once, and whenever you try, and that can be done at any of the banks, and when you try to go ahead and try to go to the other bank and try to open your account, your KYC will not be done again. They will be only checking it on the bank chain by SBI, and if the KYC is already done, that code will be taken back, and there will be no requirement for you to do KYC once again. So these are the three projects that I thought of mentioning for the consortium blockchain. And you can think of consortium blockchain in a way that there are multiple intranets connected to each other, but not exactly an internet. Internet is a collection of intranets, but limited, maybe 3 intranets connected to each other which only want to talk to each other. They are also useless until you go ahead and touch the internet. Similarly, private blockchains and consortium blockchains are very useful internally, I know that, but they already have ERP systems, they already have SAP systems, they already have CRMs. There is no need for going for private blockchains and consortium blockchains unless your future plan is to connect your private blockchain or consortium blockchain to Bitcoin or to Ethereum or to some public blockchain, which is like internet. So this is happening already. Let's see. Next, please. Now, this was particularly suggested by Vaishali ma'am. Thank you. She wanted me to consider current scenario, the COVID-19 pandemic, and try to give you guys an idea. If we already had built a couple of blockchains, maybe national, maybe international blockchains, What would have been done differently? It states clearly what could be different if we had already built blockchains. Now consider that if we had national medical blockchain or maybe international medical blockchain, it would have helped us with complete, transparent, immutable storage and tracking of medical history, tests, results, medical supplies requirements, medical supplies usage, whatever you want to know, even infections and deaths. Now there are reports coming up almost everywhere that the figures that they have about infections and deaths are not correct, or maybe they are meddled with. Maybe there is no way to check them. Even White House actually admitted that the numbers are bloated. A country like United States, which spends so much money on their medical infrastructure, their powerhouse admitting that there is something wrong with the numbers. This states itself that we need blockchains there. We need medical blockchains. Now the next example is national financial blockchain, and I have actually covered this example a couple of slides ago. I gave you an example that distribution of aid and this subsidy money and all the money to the state governments, stimulus to the banks and companies, aid to the poor and needy directly. They could have given them directly if they had implemented blockchain wallets for the whole country, and it was possible because we already have Aadhaar system. We could have used that Aadhaar system based blockchain, or rather we should move our Aadhaar data also to a blockchain. That is also needed. So this example I have already covered, that we could have programmed the currency using some smart contracts, and we could have programmed it in such a way that the currency could be used to buy some XYZ type of commodities only, and all the other transactions will be rejected. And within some time, if you don't spend that money, that money, or rather that currency, is going back to the government. That could have been done. This would have stopped many deaths. We could have stopped misuse of funds, and we could have saved a lot of lives. We could have saved a lot of precious energy. We could have saved a lot of precious time and even money also. We could have also had travel blockchain, which would have stored and completely enabled tracking of people traveling everywhere, and who is going, who is coming back from the sensitive area, and we would have gotten some emergency responses according to these warnings. So this would have been differently done if we already had blockchains. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So I've given you just a bit of sources for your knowledge that you need to go to after this session is finished. If you want to study blockchain and cryptocurrency, you need to start with the source itself, where everything started. It was the Bitcoin white paper that Satoshi Nakamoto wrote, and it was released in October 2008, when the banking crisis was happening, when the markets were melting down in 2008. The name of the white paper is Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash. That is the name of the white paper, and that is the only document you should start with. You should never ever read anything else before you read this document, because this is the source. You should start with it, and then you can gradually change your study material. You can go ahead and read the following books: Mastering Bitcoin, Mastering Ethereum, Internet of Money Part 2, and all these four books are by the same author. His name is Andreas Antonopoulos. He is a Greek. He has dual citizenship. He is Greek and United States citizen. And he is the biggest public personalities who is trying to educate everybody all around the world about cryptocurrencies and blockchain and the decentralization, the power of public systems. He is doing it so passionately that my knowledge source was this guy. or rather the source of inspiration for entering this domain was this guy. I personally met him once in Mumbai. And if you want to start your own career in this domain, you should start with Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash white paper, then go to the Internet of Money and Internet of Money Part 2 if you're not a technical person. If you're not a technical person, avoid reading first and second books and directly go to the third and fourth book. If you just want to know the domain, if you don't want to program it, if you don't want to be a consultant in this domain, if you don't want to be an advisor in this domain, if you're just going to be managing something in your company, that is fine. But if you want to get into the technicalities, you need to read first and second book, which is Mastering Bitcoin and Mastering Ethereum. And try to go to YouTube, search for Antonov, search for Andreas Antonopoulos, go to Twitter, search him, and try to understand what he is speaking about. This guy has a lot of videos. He has traveled all over the world, and he does that 365 days a year since last around 6 years, I suppose. So you can find a lot of material that Andreas has created, and once you start reading these things, once you start listening to these things, you will get to know the domain better, and then you can actually find your own sources. You can find some other leaders, some other think tanks who are actually working in this domain. Okay, so try to get your hands on these things, and you will surely find these things. There even Mastering Bitcoin and Mastering Ethereum, these books are available for free on online. You don't even need to buy these things. These things are available for free. And even if you cannot read this white paper, you can find on YouTube a video where person is reading this white paper. You can listen to it while driving. You can listen to it while doing something else. I don't recommend that. You should give your complete attention to this white paper. But if you're so busy, or rather you have already read it 10 times but you have not understood it properly, you can try to listen to that YouTube video where the person is reading this white paper. Very simple. I have done it personally many times. I listen to it even now. So these are the sources of knowledge, and these are authentic sources of knowledge. I don't recommend going for anything else right now. I recommend you to go to other sources, find your own sources later on. Okay, next slide please. So Shri Crypto, that's me. And what are the services that I'm offering right now, and I've been offering since last around 4 years, are these. In blockchain technology, I provide blockchain trainings, I provide blockchain consultancy, and I help in research and development of new blockchains as well. In terms of cryptocurrencies, I offer a little more variety. I offer cryptocurrency trainings. I can help you in cryptocurrency mining. I can help you design your mining plant or whatever you call it. I can help you. I can give you advisory services. I can help you in research and development. I can help you if you want to start a company in this domain. I can also help you if you want to come up with your own ICO. ICO is sorry, I forgot to complete this, cover this up. See, ICO is initial coin offering. Just like in stock markets, they have initial public offerings where private limited companies go to the stock market and they actually actually ask the normal investors to invest in those shares, and then they raise money through that, and then they go on with their own work and they try to give some money back to the investors. And the idea is that if the company achieves its goals while working on their own projects, you will also make money because the value of the shares will go up. Probably not every share goes up, but we invest in those shares, right? Similarly, ICO is initial coin offerings, where a cryptocurrency project, while launching, they reach out to the public and try to raise money, raise cryptocurrency through public. There are many other varieties of ICOs. This is ICO. There are also IEOs, initial exchange offerings, where some exchanges are coming up. They are going to launch and they try to issue their own cryptocurrency, which people buy, and through the money raised, through the currency raised through that auction, they continue their operations. Similarly, there are STOs, security token offerings. These security token offerings are usually registered with some regional bodies, just like SEBI in India. They need to register with those bodies, and then they launch those STOs, just like ICOs, but different name and different variety of the ICOs. STOs are prominently issued in Switzerland. ICOs are also many ICOs are happening from Belarus, Switzerland, Mauritius, and even in Thailand also. So these are the things happening right now. Next slide, please. I offer three different trainings for people who want to learn cryptocurrencies and blockchain domain. So first is blockchain crash course, which is 1 day training, complete almost around 6 to 7 hours sometimes. Then there is blockchain basics course, which is 2 days training, and there is ABC3, that is ABC of cryptocurrencies, which covers almost everything that you want to know about money and currency, the difference between money and currency, the history of money, the history of currencies, history of precious metals, and many things. How central banking works, how fractional reserve banking works, how money is created, or rather how currency is created. Many people still believe that if, for example, RBI wants to print 100 crore rupees, they need to dig into their pockets, they need to take out 100 crore rupees worth of gold, and they need to take it and they need to put it in some safe vault worth 100 crore rupees. Then only they can print 100 crore rupees. That used to be the thing in 1950s or before 1940s. Since 1950s, we have no currency which has been backed by gold except for the US dollar. So whole complete world, every national currency is connected to the US dollar, and US dollar since 1971 is hanging in the air. There is nothing backing US dollar also, because in 1971 President Nixon issued an order which cut the link between precious metals and dollar. So every central bank like RBI and everything else, they are all dependent, or they are all keeping US dollars as their reserve and then printing their own national currency. And Federal Reserve, which is based in United States, they are printing US dollars out of thin air. So the whole system is hanging in the air right now. There is nothing backing anything except for our blind faith in the system, our blind faith in the government, our blind faith in the RBI or the central bank, and how they issue it, why they, or how can they issue it? Because we are guaranteeing that money through our taxes. Through my child is going to pay that money through taxes. My child's child, my granddaughter, my grandson is going to pay that money through taxes. So whatever is backing that national currency is not even your faith. Now it's your faith plus the guarantee that you will pay your taxes. That's all, nothing else. This is a very sensitive topic, but it's true. You can research on your own. You can do your own research. I cover all these interesting things in ABC3. Everybody who wants to join this session, who wants to be a part of that training, can get in touch with me. I will also share my contact details in the next slide. Next, please. I want to thank you, everyone. Thank you to Siagarh Institute of Technology. Thank you, Vaishali Vaste madam. Thank you to the principal. Thank you to the HOD, and thank you to all the authorities. Thank you to the High Voltage Club Nasik, Devine, and Nikhil, and your parents also. They have also been doing a lot of work for you. I know it damn well behind the curtains. And I also want to thank every single participant who has taken part in this. And let's move to the next slide, which has my contact details. I know this is a bit much, but I like to give as many options as possible to everyone, because everybody doesn't prefer Twitter or everybody doesn't prefer email. So these are all the things that you can get in touch. You can use to get in touch with me. First is my mobile number, WhatsApp. You can directly call me. You can reach me on WhatsApp. You can contact me on Telegram. Second thing on the left is my Telegram group, which is specifically for trainings, consultancy, and advisory and research and development. And I also share my regular updates on that group. You can simply go to Telegram and search for Shri Crypto, or you can directly go to the search engine and type t.me/Shri Crypto. Email address, I don't need to read that. LinkedIn, you can find me directly through this link, or just type in Shreekant Kulkarni. For Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and almost everywhere, I'm available on Shri Cool. SHREECOOL. That is that. Shri Cool. Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you. I hope you stay safe at home. I hope you stay safe at office, and I hope you earn a lot of money and get into your group very soon. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I would like to make an announcement here. So basically, for the certificates, we have a feedback link. I would like to request you to please fill in that feedback link. It is going in right now to the chat window. Yeah, please note, if you don't fill out the feedback link, you won't be able to get a certificate. Also, I know many of you have asked questions, so we will just join in the next session after a minute or so for the question and answer. Those who had questions can kindly be present there. Also, I would request you to follow us on like join our Telegram group. Links are already in the chat window. We will put it once again so that you can receive all the updates. And once again, thank you for being Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. I'll just be answering all, sir will be answering all the questions. So first question is from Vishwajit Chavan. Is it used in ATM machines? So is blockchain used in ATM machines?
There are many ATM service providers who are already providing cryptocurrency ATMs. So private blockchains and consortium blockchains for the banking system, they will be launched. They will be used for the banking transactions. If they start using them for the banking transaction, it can be used for the ATMs also. But if your question is directed towards the cryptocurrencies, or rather the public blockchains, there are many cryptocurrency ATMs available already. Even in Switzerland, if you go to a train station, you can, the same machine where you buy train tickets, you can buy cryptocurrency as well. So that kind of innovation has already been happening.
So the next question is, what are some of the use cases of blockchain? I guess we have already answered that.
We have actually
what are the
already, yeah.
What are the securities present in public blockchains? So I guess we have answered that as well.
Security, in terms of security, we have public and private key cryptography. That is the first wall. The second wall is the consensus algorithm. The third wall is that there are so many nodes speaking the truth that you cannot enter the blockchain with a node which speaks lies. You will be quickly kicked out of the network. If you speak a small lie, you will be kept away. Nodes will not talk to you for 4 hours. If you keep on telling lies, they will not talk to you for 24 hours. And if you keep on sending wrong transactions in Bitcoin network, your node will be permanently banned. So this kind of security mechanisms are already present in the system. Next question, please.
So the next question is, can it replace the current accounting systems? This is from Piyush Rathi.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Right now, accounting and auditing, these things are like, why not? Why do we receive salaries every month? If we use blockchain and complete automation, we might actually see a scenario where I report to my work, I start working at 9:30 a.m., I keep on programming, whatever the work I do it on my machine. And at 11:30, after 2 hours, I just want to take a break for my coffee or anything else. I just stand up, and by the time I reach the exit door, I get paid for those 2 hours. This can be implemented. Why do we have audits every 4 months? Why not every 4 seconds? Why not every 4 minutes? Why do we pay for internet for the whole month or maybe for the whole year? Why do we pay for Netflix for the whole month? very soon we will, once we start implementing blockchain, and this might be the case, this might be the scenario that we see with geo blockchain very soon, that you will pay as you go, you will pay as you use. You will, if you use 10 seconds of
Yeah.
Netflix, you will be paid for those 10 seconds. So accounting, auditing, and consolidating these reports, this will be happening very quickly and very differently very soon. Next, please.
Okay, so the next question is from, like the question is already answered. Which industry used cryptocurrency first time? So we have already answered that. It's Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bitcoin was the first
yeah,
cryptocurrency, but there were a lot of
yeah.
projects before Bitcoin, like Hashcash. There was digital gold. A lot of projects, they failed, and then Bitcoin was something which actually sparked this new innovation, because it was not, nobody was able to hack it, and even now nobody is able to hack it. So, and there is no central point of failure. You cannot reach Bitcoin's CEO. You cannot go to Bitcoin's office and arrest the person just because he is doing something wrong. So that doesn't mean this is wrong, but since there was no central point of failure, Bitcoin succeeded, and it was the first cryptocurrency.
Okay,
Next.
so yeah, we have a couple of questions. So what is cryptography? This is from Vishwajit Chavan. What is
What is
cryptography?
cryptography?
Yeah.
Cryptography is study of these digital signatures, public private key cryptography. So what we do in that, there are different hashing algorithms. Just like while making tea, we use a filter. We pour the tea, and what comes out is the actual tea, and everything else is in that channi, what you want to say. So similarly, you can think of hashing algorithm as a filter, and you put in anything from this side. After, when it comes outside this side, it is 256 bits, and there is some mechanism inside this filter that actually converts whole Bhagavad Gita, or maybe the whole Quran, or maybe the whole Bible, or maybe the whole Mahabharata into 256 bits. Whatever you put in from this side, output is the same always, rather the same size. But if you change one comma, you change one letter in the input, everything else changes in the output. So this is the basic mechanism which is used for security in a lot of things, and that is called cryptography.
Okay, so this is a question from Swapnil Sonovne. He's the professor at Vidyalankar Institute of
Wow.
Technology. So he has asked,
Hello, sir.
is the cryptography and digital signatures quite similar to the end-to-end encryption that we have in WhatsApp?
Yeah,
So
those are
is it similar to
similar,
that?
but the key, yeah, it's similar. But the key difference is that where are the private keys stored? Are they stored with you? If they are stored with you, then you are the owner of the data. You are the owner of that encryption, and you are the only one who can decrypt it. But if the private keys are used and stored on some foreign server, foreign land, and they are the ones issuing public signatures and then encrypting it, just like in case of Zoom, then it is treated as a security threat, and it is said that it is a centralized system, not a decentralized system. I hope that answers your question, sir.
So this question was from Sangeeta ma'am. She had asked about the research areas in blockchain, but I guess we have already answered that. Going on to the next question.
Sure.
So is yeah. So the question is, how can we know that a particular blockchain transaction is legitimate, and can verification of particular transaction be easily tracked?
Yeah. See, every blockchain, every public blockchain like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Monero, Zcash, these are the top 10 ones. And you can also go ahead and check on coinmarketcap.com, coinmarketcap.com, and there you will find the list of all the cryptocurrencies. You can go to the individual cryptocurrency, check its graph, and check where exactly is its explorer available. Just like for the internet, we need an explorer, internet explorer, or rather browser. Similarly, for a blockchain, we need an explorer. and there are different service providers who are building these explorers. So for Bitcoin, it is bitcoin.com or blockchain.info. You can go there and you can put in your address or the transaction ID, and it will show the complete details about that transactions, that particular transaction or that particular address, and there you can track everything. And if you don't want to do that, just like earlier, if you install the blockchain on your laptop, on your PC, on your Mac, wherever, then you can be independent. You can be your own boss. You can check for yourself whether that transaction is legitimate or not. You don't need to rely on third parties or some app development company. You can do it for yourself by becoming part of the network, by becoming part of the blockchain. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, okay. So there is one more question that I guess we have already answered. So the question is, do we need high-speed
Okay.
servers and devices for managing, for like mining crypto?
See, mining is a very, very, very particular subject. It is a very different branch of hardware. Let's consider example of Bitcoin. Bitcoin mining started with mining on these simple laptops and simple PCs. But then the mathematical expression or the mathematical question kept on getting tougher because more people were mining it. This mechanism is already present in the Bitcoin blockchain, that the target time for each block is 10 minutes. So if you have a better hardware and if you find the answer within 1 minute, then within two weeks, after 2 weeks, the average time of the block is calculated. And if it's less than 10 minutes, difficulty of those problems is increased. If it is more than 10 minutes, rather the average block time is more than 10 minutes, the difficulty of the mathematical question is lowered so that people can cope up, the hardware can cope up with the difficulty. This is happening all this is a very beautiful mechanism put it into the system. So once everybody was, a lot of people were started mining with laptops were not enough to mine because the difficulty kept on increasing. Then people started using GPUs, graphical processing units. They started implementing GPUs, or large arrays of GPUs, room filled of GPUs, warehouses full of GPUs, doing only one thing, mining. Then the difficulty kept on increasing again. So GPUs and laptops and CPUs are very generalized hardware, right? They do everything. They don't do one particular thing best, right? So they tried to go towards FPGAs. FPGAs are field programmable gate arrays. So it's a chip which you can program once after receiving from the manufacturer. So you program it to do your own tasks. But still that hardware was not good enough because it is field programmable. That means it can be programmed after shipping. So it is still generalized. So FPGA, this was a very short span. After that, mining went towards ASIC, application specific integrated circuits. These are very costly to design, very costly to implement, because not everybody is going to buy it, right? And you need to put in billions of dollars into the research and development. Then you come up with one chip which might be not as good as you wanted, which might be consuming more electricity than you wanted. So these ASICs are very efficient in terms of doing only one thing, the algorithm that you want to mine. Now Bitcoin is using SHA-256 algorithm for mining. Okay, SHA-256 algorithm. So that mining proof of work ASIC chips are being designed and they are being used now. And one device can have as many as 180 chips in one device. So this can beat any server out of the box. It's very specialized. You need to know that.
Okay, so the next question.
Next.
Yeah. So the next question is from Sunny Singh. He's trying to ask, so sir, are you trying to develop this proof of green, same as the carbon credits that the businesses and industries need to have?
Yes. But what we are trying to do is that every citizen, every person who is trying to do his small bit to do something good for the environment. Maybe it is using unironed clothes like me. Maybe it is using less water. Maybe it is using cycle to go to the work. Maybe it is taking electric bus rides. Maybe it is buying electric cars. Maybe it is installing solar panels or windmills. Every small bit and every large chunk counts on saving planet Earth. And we cannot save planet Earth. We are saving ourselves. Even if CO2 levels rise a lot, we are the only ones who are going to go to hell, man. Our health will be hampered. So we are not trying to save the earth. We are trying to save ourselves by keeping the air quality better, by keeping the water quality better, and every bit counts. So for that, everyone or anyone who is trying to do something good can submit the proof of he is doing something good to the blockchain that we are building, and through proof of green he will be incentivized for his good actions. And those carbon credits, or you can call them micro carbon credits, will be accumulated in our system, and entities like governments or the manufacturing companies which are the key pollutants, or maybe the power plants which are the biggest pollutants, maybe the petrochemical industry, maybe the petroleum industry, maybe the refineries, they need to buy some particular amount of carbon credits. So they will be able to buy these chunks of carbon credits from these millions of people who have actually accumulated them in one go from our platform. And we will make money, small bits of money, by earning some percentage. And these citizens, these people who are actually doing the good for themselves and good for the next generations will make some money out of it. That is the idea. Thanks a lot for that question.
This is a question from Amol. How to define standardization and limited interoperability?
I did not get that question. Can you read that again or send me over chat?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, by the
It's
time you
how
send
to
it
define
to me on my chat.
standardization.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Read ahead.
It's just on the group chat.
Sure.
Yeah, it's on the group chat. You can just read it from the group chat.
Sure. Just give me a second. I'll answer that. How to define standardization and limited interoperability. See, now standardization is something that is very vague right now in blockchain. Bitcoin blockchain cannot communicate with Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum blockchain cannot communicate with Litecoin blockchain. They all three cannot communicate with Waves blockchain. But somewhere down the line, we might see some middle platforms get born, which can help these blockchain communicate with each other. And for that, we need standardization. And in terms of standardization, very good work has been done with the Lightning Network. Lightning Network is being built for Bitcoin and Litecoin. They both can very soon will be able to operate with each other very seamlessly. You can say seamlessly. Okay. So there are around 7 different implementations of Lightning Network going on right now, but they all are working in tandem because they are using some standardization, so that anyone who wins the race, or anyone which is actually being implemented more in the networks, will be able to communicate with the rest of the 6. So this is already happening. The future scenario can be something like this, that all the private blockchains, all the consortium blockchains, and all the other cryptocurrency blockchains, they will communicate with the big daddy of them all, the Bitcoin blockchain, which is the safest of them all, which is completely attack proof already. And every other blockchain will communicate with Bitcoin blockchain, and it will serve as the base platform. This can be the future, but there needs to be a lot of work put into this. Yeah, you can go ahead. Next question.
Yeah. So this question is from Dhananjay. He has asked that. So basically, blockchain is a ledger. So it is a collection of ledger. So if it is a ledger, are there any
Right.
chances?
Uh, Devin, you are not audible.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just repeat once again. The question is that
Sure.
blockchain is a ledger, right? So it's a collection of ledger. So is
Right.
there are there any chances that this ledger will corrupt? Yeah, will this ledger get corrupted?
You are again not audible.
Yeah, so will the ledger is are there any chances that the ledger will get corrupted?
Again mute.
Yeah, okay, so will the ledger ever get corrupted?
See, the problem of corrupted ledgers happens only when you have maybe four copies of the ledger, right? One is in the bank, the other one is in the second branch of your bank, the third one is your disaster recovery, the fourth one is another disaster recovery part two, something like that. This is what the banking system is working on, right? So there can be an occasion where all four of them may be corrupted or may get destroyed altogether, right? But in blockchains, in Bitcoin blockchain or in Litecoin, in the other blockchains, in public blockchains, distributed blockchains, what is happening is that every node is maintaining its own copy of ledger. So if you have 50,000 nodes in Bitcoin blockchain, and suppose there is a tsunami in Asia, there is earthquake in America, and there is some other natural calamity in somewhere else, you still might have around 100 nodes running, right? So there might be 100 copies. Even if 49,900 nodes are destroyed, you have 100 copies of ledgers which are totally tamper proof, which cannot be edited by anybody, which are completely up to the mark, and the blockchain might continue. So people are taking this disaster or this scenario very seriously, and they have started launching their nodes, or rather they are planning to launch their nodes in the space along with the satellites, so that no matter what the hell happens to the earth, Bitcoin network will keep on running. So just because ledgers are destroyed, this might not stop. Thank you for that question. It was an intelligent one.
So the now is my voice audible?
Yeah.
Is my voice audible? Yeah. So the next question is how to
Yes.
handle scalability issues in blockchain.
Yeah, that is a big one. See, scalability means how many transactions per second are you able to handle. The network, how many transactions are able to process per second. Now, Visa handles around 30,000 transactions per second. MasterCard handles around 40,000 transactions per second. And Bitcoin blockchain handles around, how many? 7 transactions per second. Just seven transactions per second, not even a dozen transactions per second. And this is called a scalability issue. So once everybody starts using Bitcoin blockchain, maybe that future is around 10 years ahead, maybe that is 20 years ahead, nobody knows that. But one day, that day might come very soon, and everybody is using Bitcoin blockchain, and suppose there are like a million transactions per hour, then how can the Bitcoin blockchain, which is capable of only 7 transactions, handle a million transactions per hour? Answer is very simple. Bitcoin is the base layer. Bitcoin is the base layer. You can build a new layer on top of it, and that work is already going on. The same project, like the Lightning network, which is trying to build on top of Bitcoin network, and it will be able to handle a lot more transactions. The problem is not
So
yet
there is
solved, but it
another
will be
doubt
solved very soon.
from. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next question is from Madhukar. Please elaborate on the Pi network.
On the Pi network, was it correct? Pi network?
Yeah, it is PI, Potato Indigo Pi.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I have not yet studied this domain, this particular project. But if you reach out to me on my number or in on my Telegram or maybe over mail, I will study it and then I will respond to this question. I'm so sorry. I have not yet studied it.
Now the next doubt is how to push this idea to students.
How to
This is
put this
from
idea into
Dr.
students?
C. Deepa.
Okay. So
Yeah, how to push.
particularly, yeah, what we are doing right now by having this session, by having this introductory training, by debunking these myths that people have about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. This is exactly what is needed to be done. I have personally, whenever I meet a lot of people, no matter which kind of gathering it is, whether it is a family gathering, whether it is a birthday party, whether it is a college reunion, whether it is a wedding, maybe it is some sports event, maybe I'm attending my child's event in the school. Wherever I go, I try to clarify. I try to clear people's doubt. I try to tell them what exactly is the reality of cryptocurrencies, what exactly is happening in the world. Now, sometimes we get very sharp reactions. Sometimes we get sharp reactions are usually because the reality that they are seeing or they are seeking is different than what we are trying to tell them. So educating people is what I am trying to do, is what Devine and Nikhil and the whole team is trying to do. And I think we will be able to do it very well, because educating students about these new domains, these new capabilities, these new opportunities is what is needed. And they are the people who will decentralize our governance models. They are the people who will decentralize our banking systems. They are the people who will decentralize our travel, our data, our personal data, our social media. Everything will be decentralized very soon. And we stand with them. We are trying to teach them the basics. I hope that answers your question.
So the next question is from Nikhil R. The question is Binance
Yes.
is dominating Indian blockchain and crypto investments. Are,
Can you read the question again, please? I just heard the first half.
yeah, the okay. The question is Binance is dominating Indian blockchain and crypto investments. Any policies from
Right,
Indian crypto
right, right.
communities to take on opportunities?
See, now Binance is one of the world's biggest exchanges, and they have a lot of money backing these things up, and they are doing what every other technical company will do. They are trying to expand. They are trying to find open opportunities, find open markets, and wherever they find an opportunity, they try to grab it by hand, because they have the money, they have the expertise. They just need to find new markets. Now, once I will try to give you an example of what other people are doing. The day RBI ordered cryptocurrency exchanges to stop, the no rather banks to stop providing services to cryptocurrency exchanges. Within 1 week or a couple of weeks of stopping their services in India, the biggest exchange in India, ZPay, started their operations in 13 European countries, 1 3, 13 countries in one day. So that is the thing ZPay is also doing. And once RBI lost that case in India in the Supreme Court in India in March, 2020, they have also started operating in India back again. So it is a level playing field, but there will be monopolies like Bitmain, which are the biggest manufacturer of all the mining equipment, and they are also running biggest mining pools. This will happen until some person, maybe out of our own audience, who will design a new ASIC chip. Maybe he will find a new way to mine something. This can be done. So there will be big companies finding opportunities and taking them. That is only happening. But Indian people, Indian innovators are also finding ways to do this everywhere in the world.
So let me just move on to the next question. This is from Aditya Kumar. He's a
Yeah, sure.
student of mathematics.
Yeah.
How is it useful for him?
Oh, great. See, uh, cryptography is a part of mathematics. Okay, even if you get into the digital signatures and all these things, they are all part of mathematics. So if you are good at mathematics, you can think of this as a big opportunity. You can become maybe an architect, maybe somebody who only designs consensus algorithms, maybe somebody who designs only ASIC chips, or rather an algorithm which optimizes ASIC chips. These can be very good opportunities for you, for mathematicians. And maths, you can be a very good cryptocurrency analyst also. Technical analysis can be done through mathematics only, right? So these are good opportunities for maths. All the best to you.
I'll move on to the next question. This is from Vishwajit Chavan. Can
Sure.
it ever happen that
Yeah.
a blockchain server is overloaded because too many users are accessing it at the same time?
Hmm. See, for this question is based on decentralized architecture. Okay, the client server architecture. What blockchain, or rather what Bitcoin and similar open blockchains are using, is not centralized architecture. They are not using client server architecture. They are using completely decentralized architecture. It is a completely flat network. Once you try to you one when you actually ask a question, you ask it to your peers, to your friendly nodes, and any one of them can answer. So similarly, you are also a server, you are also a client. So you can answer that question yourself. You are just taking inputs from your friends just to confirm what you have is true or not. So you won't be putting in service requests to all your friends. Okay, because you already have the complete blockchain, the complete ledger since the beginning of the blockchain stored with you. That is why you are a node. That is why you are a participant on the network. But there are also light nodes which don't store complete blockchain, but they rely on some other nodes, they're friendly nodes, and they put on questioning them, keep on questioning them. But those questions are not enough to crash the blockchain yet. It was a great question. Can we move on to the next one?
So this is from Sunny Singh. This is the same guy who asked you about
All
carbon
right.
credits. He's asking, can I work with you on proof of green? I will get in touch with you on WhatsApp or Telegram. I have
Yeah, you can reach me on Telegram. We can discuss it further. But we already have a team of 16 people working with us. Let's see what we can do with each other.
end this session and we will just meet out for the farewell kind of the vote of thanks. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Questions are finished, right? Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this webinar such a resounding success. First of all, I would like to propose heartily vote of thanks to our distinguished speaker, Mr. Shreekant Kulkarni, for making excellent presentation and making his webinar interesting and meaningful. Actually, I want to give salute to Sir's patience and how energetically he has explained all things and how he has given answers to all questions. Thank you, sir. I would like to express our profound gratitude to our principal, Dr. M.S. Gaikwad sir, and management of Srinagar family for giving us opportunity to organize such webinar. I would also like to thank our beloved HOD, Dr. D.D. Chaudhary sir, for his moral support and guidance. I am happy to express a vote of thanks to our staff members who have made this webinar a great success. People who have participated overwhelmingly and making the event success. We are also grateful to the High Voltage Club President Mr. Devine and Mr. Shreekant Kulkarni, Director of Social Technologies Private Limited, Pune, for sponsoring this event. Finally, the wonderful students who have turned up in such a great numbers, not only from our department but also from other departments of the college. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Thank you. Thank you so much. Stay home, stay safe.
Before Vaishali ma'am can join in again, I would like to mention a couple of things. First of all, thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Certificates will be sent out by today evening or tomorrow morning. If there are some people in the audience who would like to be speakers for our future events or would like to sponsor our events, please contact us on info@thehighvoltageclubnashik.com, and looking forward to wonderful sessions, wonderful webinars with you all. Thank you very much.